To budget submission hearings, recommendation that standing orders be suspended to hear from people who indicated in their submissions that they would like to speak to the committee. I need a mover, please. Councillor Cox and a seconder, Councillor Lawless. Thank you. Now to where we, thank you. So consideration submitters wishing to speak. Now we go into the submission. Who wants to speak, please? And the first one is John Tyrrell. St James Solo Art Community, second public toilet at St James. Now it's on behalf of Kathy Beattie. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I'm doing the first presentation today for Kathy Beattie for St James. Kathy's brother is not well and I had to do it for her. I'll just read what she's got for me. I'm hoping that my views on an additional toilet for St James will be heard. When St James Bowls Club was refurbished and additional toilets were installed, the community was under the impression that toilets would be for public use. So the demolition of the only public toilets we had wasn't counted as such a loss. However, that impression was not correct. At the silos, a single unisex toilet was built on the site near the Memorial Gardens on the corner of Devonish and St James Road, which in the time was probably sufficient. But now that St James Silo Art has become so popular and such a drawcard to the Moira Shire, the single unit has limitations. When busloads of elderly people turn up to visit the silo, it is distressing to see a long queue of elderly people waiting for their turn to go to the loo. If we had a second facility, at least we could have halve the waiting time. An inspection would need to take place to see if the second toilet could be connected to the same septic tank to save costs. It is not about the capacity of the system, but purely the time factor. The St James Hotel is not always open. In any case, these facilities are limited. The St James Silo Art Committee are prepared to put in $10,000 towards this project, which we think is a gorgeous offer, and as part of our community plan that we are working on at the moment with Dana Sharp. We humbly ask for your consideration of this worthy project. Kathy Beattie.
Thank you, John. Good presentation. John, if you'd like to go on with the Tungamah Kickstart, please.
Yep, okay. The Tungamah Kickstart Committee, Splash Park. I applied for this last year and didn't go anywhere, so I'm doing it again. It's hot weather at hot times in Tungamah. The kids and adults have got nowhere to cool off. We've only got a dirty creek there, the Boozy Creek, which is at the moment is jet black. And the swimming pool was bulldozed in 2018 by the Education Department. That was a great swimming pool there, nothing wrong with it. And all of a sudden the swimming pool was bulldozed. Swimming pool was built by the Tungamah community back many years ago. So the community put the money in to build it. The splash park we want to put in would be built behind the kindergarten on Flat Cancel Lounge in Boyd's Park. That is rarely, this park is rarely used. It's only a short walk also from the primary school. Parents don't want to drive into Yarra on hot days to use the swimming pool in Yarra. They'd be better off using it out at Tungamah if we had a splash park. We have very few private swimming pools in Tungamah. I think there's only about 2 or 3 there, so no one could get cold. It'd be used by tourists as well and the farmers' children surrounding Tungamah districts. Kickstarter are providing $10,000 to this project so far. We're trying to earn more money, but at the moment we've got $10,000 to put into it. Kickstart will help to maintain this facility. We will look after it. We know the council is already spending a lot of money in Yarrawonga on a splash park, but you also must help the smaller towns, and I feel that we need it out there. As I said, this is the second year we've applied for this project and we don't want to give up on it. We need a splash park as soon as we lost our swimming pool in Tungamah. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, John. Thank you very much. Hello, Rob and Debbie. How's going?
Thank you. How are you?
Thank you. If you'd like to present your submission, thank you.
Ellie.
I think Ellie's trying to get on, but
I'm just trying to get in. Can anyone hear me?
just hit your video.
Start video?
Yep.
Oh, there I am.
Righto.
Okay. Are we ready to go?
Here you go.
Okay, good afternoon, and thanks for the opportunity to personally talk to you all about our budget submission for the master plan funding as a first step in developing what was known as the Apex Caravan Park. I'm Ellie Stevens, the president of Cobram Rotary Club, and with me today I have Rob Love from our club and Debbie Dopper representing the Cobram Community Enterprise Group. We represent today a collective group of 3, which includes the Cobram Barooga Apex Club. We see this park as an integral part of Cobram's future, and as a collective group of 3 are committed to its progression and development for the Cobram community. Rotary and Apex are respected and well-known community organisations that have been raising funds for worthy community projects over decades. This will continue in relation to this project. We have joined forces with Cobram Community Enterprise Group, and we have welcomed their support and enthusiasm. I will now hand you over to Debbie Dopper to talk a bit about her group and the reason for our submission.
Good. Thank you, Ellie, and thank you, Moira Shire, for listening to us today. As Ellie said, I'm Debbie Dopper, and I'm the Secretary of the Cobram Community Enterprise Group. We're a group of like-minded people for the community, and we've been assisting community groups fund some of their projects for the past 10 years in support with the Bendigo Bank. As outlined in our submission, you will see that Cobram Community Enterprise, Rotary and Apex have been meeting through mutual interest for the park development for the recreation space that was once Apex Caravan Park. We feel that such a space will provide community enrichment and socialisation and inclusiveness for all demographics of our shire and surrounds. The size of the land in question lends itself to so many amazing opportunities for our Cobram community and all of Moira Shire. It is a long stretch of land, which also lends itself to being able to be staged in its development with a master plan. The master plan will identify the beneficial when looking at funding opportunities for the future. We envisage this space providing a vibrant and prosperous area for our community, and we have outlined some of those examples in our submission. As a collective group, we wish to work with Moira Shire and all stakeholders for our community. We have many ideas for the land that we've been tossing around, and we feel that some of them will be welcomed by the community. But we feel that we cannot progress without a master plan that gives us direction. Assigning consultants to develop a detailed master plan will focus the vision for the land and the project moving forward. It will also help us engage with the community, identify community needs and interest, and create a new common vision. Having a master plan will provide us with a roadmap that shows us how we can get there, the ability to apply for grants and fundraise with credibility in the community. To have a combined group of passionate people with a roadmap and a master plan, 3 individual groups coming together with the ability to assist with this financially, and a wealth of volunteering experience within a community is a great opportunity for our town. Along with having the assistance from our shire and their expertise, we will only see the positive outcome and the outcome as something amazing for the land and the community. So please take all this into consideration when you read our budget proposal, and we thank you for your time and continued support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rob, Debbie, and Ali. Your submission will be considered at a future council discussion. So thank you very much for your presentation today.
Good. Thank you.
No worries.
Thanks a lot.
Very
Now,
much.
I've got John and Kate here for the next one. Do they
Rightio.
come in on this one? Right, I'll just go and grab them. Yep, you ready?
John Crawford and Kate Jamison.
So John Crawford and Kate Jamison. Joining Zoom now. That's awesome.
Welcome, John.
What to go?
Kate,
Hello, everyone. How are you all?
thank you. If you'd like to do your presentation, please.
Certainly. So my name is John Crawford, and thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to talk to you today on our proposal. Kate Jamison, who many of you may know, she's been an integral part in our community for the last couple of years. doing a lot of community work, and Kate is going to do the presentation today. So I'll hand over to you, Kate. Thank you.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for your time. So in the past 12 months, the Rotary Club of Cobram, with the support of Parks Victoria, completed a rejuvenation of the walking and bike track on Quinn Island. And that's resulted in an increase in usage, but we've also had some fantastic feedback from people. And based on that feedback, we've started planning a second phase. So that phase is developing a link to the Quinn Island track, and it's also a loop. So it's taking in the breathtaking setting of the river and the bush setting, and it's also taking into account the Cobram irrigation history, which is a really important part of the Moira Shire. So our proposal closely aligns to the Moira 2035 vision and supports the two objectives of healthy, connected communities and country lifestyle. So the aim of the bike and walking track is to offer locals and tourists another option to exercise in a safe environment and to enjoy the bushland setting as opposed to riding or walking along the road, which has got ever increasing traffic that includes trucks and service vehicles along that river road. So our proposal is seeking funding to undertake an initial feasibility study, which will include a cultural heritage assessment, complete a detailed business case with full costings along with detailed drawings. So we've seen an increase in visitor camping in the region, and with the growth of residential housing towards the east of Cobram, we really believe a safe walking track into town is essential. We've had some initial discussions with Parks Victoria on the 28th of Feb, and that was really positive. So John Hutchinson, one of the parks employees, took a walk along the track and was quite supportive of the initial idea. So the proposed route also includes the old historic concrete lined channel, which was built by the Cobram Irrigation Company back in 1915. So it'd be great to sort of highlight some of this history as well. So the proposal also supports the global movement of healthy parks, healthy parks, healthy people, which is communities around the world realising the health and wellbeing benefits and spending more time in parks and nature. So we thank you for your time today.
Thank you, John. Kate, your submissions will be considered future council discussions. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, that's got me. G'day, everyone.
Thanks, Tim. If you'd like to present.
Tim O'Dwyer is my name. For those who don't know me, thank you for the opportunity to present today. I think it's fairly appropriate that I'm presenting after the Quinn Island proposal. They're after stage 2 of Quinn Island. We're after stage 1, so that's where we're at. But I'm representing the Bundalong Action Group today on behalf of the wider Bundalong community. And my presentation is in relation to the cycling walking bridge across Jackson's Creek and the 2-kilometre track around Thompson's Island being added to the Moira Shire budget for completion. As you would all know, or should know, the Bundalong Action Group has been committed to this project now for over 13 years. For those of you unfamiliar with the project, we propose to build a pedestrian bridge across Jackson's Creek, which is about 200 metres to the left of the Paisley Street boat ramp, which is the main boat ramp in Bundalong, and then a walking track around Thompson's Island. This will allow day access to Thompson's Island, which is only accessible by boat at the moment. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the creek there, it's only about 40 metres wide and it's quite easy to wade across it, but there's no actual foot access. There are a range of social, economic and environmental issues and health benefits for this structure to be built. At the moment, people can pull up on the island only by boat to enjoy everything that the river has to offer, but they have no access to the toilets, barbecues or rubbish bins on the south side of the creek at the boat ramp. Hence, the island is a magnet for human waste and garbage. At the moment, bank access is limited in Bundalong due to the majority of river frontage being taken up by residential properties. It's 13 years ago now when this project was first discussed, and as one of the drivers of the bridge and the others involved, we all had young children who had nowhere safe to swim and fish off the bank. Over time, as Bundalong has become increasingly popular, this is a major safety concern, as the only place for anyone to swim is directly adjacent to the boat ramps where boats are constantly coming and going from. A walking track in the natural environment of this island would be great for residents and visitors alike. And with the potential bike track linking Yarrawonga into the future, it would be an incredible addition to the attraction of the area. We know all the benefits walking has on our physical and mental health. And if you add the beautiful serenity of the river on one side and the bush on the other side, the track has a lot to offer. Economic and tourism benefits will flow on from social benefits, with additional people visiting the area due to increased access to the river and day trippers enjoying a bike ride or a walk around the island and then stopping off for lunch or dinner or even staying the night. Our community is still profoundly committed to shortlisting and hopefully bringing it to fruition. In the past 2 years, our group has worked closely with Ovens and Murray Land Survey in finalising a cultural heritage overlay and flora and fauna assessment, which will be needed to lodge an application for the bridge and the track. It has been a long and costly process to date and a huge undertaking for our small group, with added contributions from Moira Shire of $20,000 plus Bundalong Action Group's contribution of $11,000. Our group has persevered and preparation works have been done and paid for, with costs to date exceeding $30,000, with all accounts from Biosis and the Yorta Yorta Nation being settled. Goulburn Murray Water's initial contribution of $25,000 has been used to pay for engineering and structural plans, along with materials in lieu by Brad Mitchell from BSM Weld for bridge construction. Goulburn Murray Water has provided us a letter of support, and it should be noted that the approval from council will be subject to obtaining all necessary permits, including a private works licence from GMW and compliance with all statutory obligations that may apply prior to commencing any works. It will also be necessary for the Shire to take out a licence for the management and asset ownership of this bridge and surrounds, to which former CEO Mark Henderson has already provided a letter of support, saying that the Moira Shire is happy to accept responsibility for the asset when it is completed, with conditions, of course, including the design, construction and installation being funded by GM Water in construction with the Bundalong Action Group. The project securing the necessary statutory approvals, the design and engineering certification of the bridge being to our satisfaction, and the council's involvement in the project is limited to the bridge, with land management remaining with Goulburn Murray Water. We have ticked all the boxes that Moira has asked us and need some guidance to bring this project to fruition. Goulburn Murray Water has committed to funding their remainder of their contribution of $25,000. And that's great, but we are still seeking extra support, including help in convincing Greater Goulburn Murray Water as the landowner to lodge the planning permit. Could I also note the pro bono work being done by Ovens and Murray Land Surveying and BSM Weld to date? The application is being prepared by Ovens and Murray Land Surveying, but Goulburn Murray Water have to date confirmed they are not lodging the application. Over the years, this small working group of volunteers from Bundalong have had in-kind support from Brian Keenan, Peter Mansfield, and the current Mayor Libro Mustiker. We've had 3 different groups of councillors come over and have a look at where the project will go. All of them have told us it's a great project and would be a great asset for the Shire, but still nothing is done. I'm asking you as councillors to leave this as your legacy for our community. This will be a wonderful legacy for generations to come, but we can't do any more. You as councillors need to appoint a project manager and get this job done. And if you can't get it done, you need to tell us that you can't get it done and we'll move on. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you for your presentation, Tim. Your submission will be considered at future council discussions. Thank you. Welcome, Peter. Peter's Bundalong Community Group, Yarrawonga Bundalong Cycling Walking Track. If you'd like to present your submission, Peter, thank you.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I've had technology problems, so I'm on my phone. I do apologise. My name's Peter Kibble. I'm part of the Bundalong Action Group, and fittingly following on from Tim O'Dwyer, would like to talk about the cycle and walking track that was originally proposed and put in the Moira Shire master plan back in 2008. I'm a resident of Bundalong, business owner, and can see huge benefits not only to Bundalong, but Moira and the northeast as a whole for this project to go ahead. We're only talking about 8 to 9 kilometres of track to be finished. Bundalong Action Group has been chasing this for 14 years, and there's a few generations that were hoping to be able to cycle from Bundalong to Yarrawonga for school and recreational purposes, and as yet hasn't come off. The project's been on the radar for a long time for the Bundalong Action Group. We've been seeking to get this put on a master plan with the council, and quite fittingly following Tim O'Dwyer's address, this connection of cycleways and walkways in our region would go quite well with linking up not only to the Jacobs Creek and Thompson's Island walking track, but thinking further afield to the Mountain to the Murray walking track, which is done by Wangaratta and Alpine Shires. I'm an owner of a cafe in Bundalong, and we are part of the Moira visitor information point. We're the easternmost point of Moira Shire, and we have a lot of tourists come into our shop wondering what's to do. Unfortunately, there are people that take life in their own hands by attempting to cycle to Yarrawonga, and Majors Creek Bridge, a very narrow stretch of the Murray Valley Highway, is quite dangerous, and I have never let my son navigate that on his bike, even though I'm sure he wanted to when he was riding to school. But we need to have a way forward with this project. Further down the track with this connection back to Yarrawonga, we would also like to be staging the plan to be moving further out towards the Ovens River, and I'm sure Paul Squires of Squires Winery would support it as well, going all the way through, and as I said, connecting up with the Mountain to the Murray track. Bundalong's a rapidly growing community, and its growth is predominantly continuing east along from Bundalong. Evidence suggests that this corridor will continue and only enhance the usage of the cycle walking track. I think I've covered all my points, gentlemen and ladies.
Well, thanks very much then, Peter. If you're finished or not, you got a bit more to go?
No, I don't think I have. Yeah,
No.
I'll finish it there. Thank you very much. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you, Peter. Your submission will be considered at future council discussions. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Welcome, Kathy.
Hi there, thank you.
I'd like to present your submission on Yamurka Love Our Lifestyle, please.
That's correct, that's us. I'm just going to try and turn that down, it's very noisy. So it just started to get very warm here in the afternoons, it happens. Okay, so am I just launching into it?
Yes, go for it. Thank you.
Okay, so most of you don't know me at all. I moved up here a year ago, and I am a dairy farmer, and I have a business that is now located in the Moira Shire, was previously in the Shepparton region, and I have cow and calf to get a dairying business. I've been running for 4 or 5 years. And in October last year, I got asked to join Love Our Lifestyle and very quickly became the president of LOL. And I knew about the Love Our Lifestyle community group through previous festivals that they'd had. And when I inquired about why we didn't have the festival anymore, it had kind of just fallen out due to lack of volunteers, lack of enthusiasm, and then of course COVID hit. So one of my first things that I put on the agenda very strongly was to revisit the idea of the festival, celebrating what is Numurkah. And so what I did was I put it through, I went and spoke to as many community groups that I could. As you know, we have a fair few of them here, the Lions, the Rotaries, fishing, movies, and many more. Spoke to them, and I spoke to the schools, the high school, to see where the kids were at. Lots and lots of negative vibes coming out of teenagers in this region, feeling rather hopeless. So I feel a festival is a really fantastic way to remind everybody that the town is thriving and will continue to grow. Now, and I don't say that without any knowledge. We ran a Christmas festival here, we did in conjunction with the Lions Club, and it was a very small half-day event, and the turnout and the support was really something to see. The stallholders all did very well, which of course is important. We can't just be community, it's got to also make commercial sense for the retailers, and it did. So when I pursued the idea of the festival, I looked towards these other groups to see who would be willing to join us. Got lots of support on that front, and because volunteers has been the #1 issue, so I think you've got to pay people to do their jobs. Also for protection, small segue, I come from the artist management area, previous career, and so I was involved with big festivals around Australia, Big Day Out, and annual festivals in numerous parts of Victoria, the Falls Festival and so forth. So I'm not foreign to running a festival. I know what they take, and I know that they take a lot of hard work. But laying out the format in this town, I see the potential to really put Numurkah, celebrate what Numurkah has to offer, but equally to increase our tourism rates, which aren't very high here. We have a certain demographic that visits Numurkah. Generally, they're retired or they have a timeshare at Lakeside, and they come for 1 or 2 weeks a year with young kids. What we don't have is that middle generation of the parents with the teens right up to the 45-year-olds who are coming with lots of disposable income, and they come from Melbourne and they stay a weekend and they spend a lot of money and they get to sample what country life looks like and feels like. And we know from housing prices in our region, there are people considering moving to Numurkah. So it's not just a hug fest, it's actually also with quite a commercial but a subtle commercial push to demonstrate what that town has to offer. The local businesses are very much on board. They're feeling a little bit deflated. Our sales are still down in this town post-COVID, and we're working very hard with promoting the Why Leave Town card, something that would play, again, another role, showing the locals a reason to stay here and spend their money here rather than drive to Shepparton or other regions or shop online. So the other thing I was going to say is about community groups. I was looking at all the, when I was identifying the strategies that we would align with. Naturally, coming from Melbourne, I know about all abilities and inclusivity is paramount. And I don't see a lot of that here, to be really honest. So I've already been in contact with our First Nation founders here. So I've got some local artists, Indigenous artists that are already doing some work with me and very keen to be part of a festival. The LGBTQIA community. Again, is someone else I've been reaching out to, very non-existent here, never an event for them. Now, these aren't major parts of our community population-wise, but it's very important for that inclusivity whilst they're going through things like high school. So I think that's very important. As far as the prosperous part of it goes, as I've said, I think there's no doubt that by having a festival, you can attract numerous different businesses and visitors to come and have a look at what we offer here. We still have empty shops that might, lead to further developments there, and our country lifestyle. So, and I think that was all. Oh, the inclusivity. The other one was disability. Naturally, we have our all access. We've already mapped a lot of that out for the accessibility, because we do have quite a large population of retirees. So there's an acceptance that golf buggies and so forth could be used to commute people around the town, showing off artworks and so forth, because there would be installations set around the town, set along the creek, and hopefully there'll be some refurbishing in that area, and there's more artworks going into the town. So it would be a celebration of the town, not just to come sit in the main street for the day. It would be actually to have events dotted around the town.
Okay, well, thank you for your presentation, Kathy. Your submission will be considered at future council meeting. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for your time, everybody. Goodbye.
Damien, you're right to present your submission.
Yep, you guys can hear me? Beautiful.
That's a Cobram Canoe Club.
Yes, yeah, so yeah, I'm presenting as on behalf of the Canoe Club as the Vice President. So this is in regards to looking at doing an extension and redevelopment of the facility down there. So background for those of you who aren't too aware of where we're at and what the club is. So we're situated down in Thompson's Beach, just set back from the beach across the road. So it functions mostly as a meeting, storage, changing facility for 5 organisations, being the runners, the anglers, the cyclists, park run, start there and store stuff there as well, and obviously the canoe club itself. There's limited space, probably have 5 to 10 people meet out the front of the shed or at the front of the shed. That was probably pre-COVID. Obviously we've got social distancing issues these days. So the majority of the meetings are either held outside or at another location. Like I know, for example, the Angling Club has at times used Apex House as a meeting location. Used to have a couple of change rooms there. A couple of years ago, with a couple of other user groups joining, we had a bit extra storage space, so we converted one of them into a storage room based on the space availability and how many active paddlers we had at the time, given how much change room capacity we needed. The last couple of years, we've had a fair bit of growth in the club. We've probably got 3 to 4 times the number of paddling members, and at the same time, we've increased the variety of classes we've had available, which is taking up more storage space. So we're trying to cater to more disciplines and also to more different members of the community and beginners. So we brought some sit-on types and some sea kayaks for beginners and recreational paddlers, plus stand-up paddle boards, some polo boats, a little bit of white water, just to sort of cater for more people. So given the location of the club, I suppose to move on to that, so we think there's a good opportunity for it to be a much greater asset to the community, particularly if we could have a larger multi-purpose meeting function facility, other groups could use it, be involved. Best way that we see to do this would be to put a second story extension on. Would be a good solution because there's an issue of flood given you're down by the river. So that anything new will be up above where the flood level has been in many, many, many years, if not ever. Would also be easier for the club to grant approval as we're already occupying the footprint, or the majority of the footprint that extension would take up. And given that we're on Crown land, that could be an issue if we're trying to extend too far out from there. And then, of course, there's the fact it would give a great outlook on the river and enhance the appeal for people to actually use the facility. It's obviously quite a large undertaking for the club, and there's limited funds that we have available, which we primarily utilise to support, the safety and development of our members and paddlers. Looking at the grants that are available and sort of the size that we need to do something like that, a lot of them focus or are only available to shovel-ready projects. So that's where we're sort of looking to kickstart the project, is probably mostly why I'm talking to you today, just to get the design element of the project completed as we're working through the consultation process. And then obviously, ideally, we'd have the council's assistance, whether it be through applying for grants or some financial assistance with the ongoing and larger scope of the project. But in summary, that's basically the submission forward. I suppose, is there anything else you'd like to clarify while I'm here?
No, that's it, Dan. We're not going into questions. So I want to just thank you for your presentation. Your submission will be considered at future council discussions.
Awesome. Thank you for the opportunity and for your time.
Very much. There you go. Well done. Thank you. Rightio, Noel is going to presentation the Yarrawonga Mulwala Tourism and Business e-changing station network. Go for it, Noel.
No, I just thought the idea of introducing the infrastructure around e-bikes and e-scooters and e-mobility, mobility scooters, is probably something that gives us the opportunity to be first movers on something that it's already happening in the cities. We could be a regional mover on this, and I mean we could connect Bundalong to Barmer via these charging stations, which would give, I think it's a step forward in future-proofing Moira. I mean, you've probably read the paper. I'd also like to consider introducing the idea of connecting the communities with it, but also I think it would be fantastic to take a 5 to 10 year view on it and try and have a situation where Wayne Limerick, for example, could get in his golf buggy and drive into town along the foreshore from Silverwood. This sort of stuff that'd make Yarrawonga a lot more livable, I guess, and sort of a lot more eco-friendly. And I think, and I put a lot of grant applications in, and really if you're not talking sustainability and inclusiveness, it's very hard to get a grant. So I think it ticks a few boxes in that area. And I think it'd be the sort of thing with the connectivity, we could probably get Federation Council to participate as well, and also Berrigan, and have 200 or 300 kilometres of sustainable stations on each side of the river, and be the first ones in regional Victoria, certainly, to have such a network in place. So I think it'd attract a new audience. It'd give a lot more opportunity for locals to participate. And not everyone, I'll give you a bit of an example. Possum Purtle from over at Mulwala bought his wife an e-bike for Christmas. Now she's having a go at him because he can't keep up with her. So he's got to go and buy one for himself. So he used to pedal beside her, but they're not good enough anymore, Possum. So it's almost as much let's get the mindset right as let's spend the money today. I think if we could get the planning in place, I've seemed to have got a good relationship with the guys at Sustainability, Scott and James in Moira, and they seem pretty excited about the idea as a generalisation. Certainly nothing specific yet, and I just thought that it'd be the sort of thing that could, I guess, distinguish Moira and our area or Sun Country on the Murray from Chukumo, Emma, Swan Hill, Albury, Wodonga. It just would, we'd be first movers, and first movers tend to attract we'd get the audience from Melbourne here first. They'd see what we've got. I think they'd probably come back again. I think to revisit first, you've got to visit. So yeah, it's just a future-proofing, I think, future-proofing our area. That's the idea.
Well, Noel, thanks for your presentation, great submission, and it'll be considered a future council discussion. Thank you and have a great day.
No, thank you. Have a good day. See you.
So as you stated, Lisa Cox submitting on behalf of the Committee of Management at the Katunga Rec Reserve, also Katunga Football Netball Club, Katunga Cricket Club and Katunga Tennis Club. I'd like to start with a brief history of the current facilities we're using there at Katunga. The land was originally acquired through the sold to settlement plan, 12 acres gifted by the Hanson family, which now is the Recreation Reserve and the Katunga Primary School on site. The sporting facilities operated out of little sheds, mainly around the tennis facilities early on in those stages. In 1973, there was the current change room facilities built, which were built and constructed under the RED scheme and financially supported by the Numurkah Shire at the time. These acted as the change rooms and the social facilities in that time. In 1983, a small group of locals were formed and they went guarantors on a $16,000 loan and purchased and decommissioned school building from the Gowrie Street Primary School. This was then dismantled and reconstructed by these locals and has served as a temporary community centre and social rooms. These facilities had had a bar and toilet area added in the late 90s, or early 90s, late 80s, and that was funded through a Shire grant also at the time. But ultimately, this temporary facility constructed by locals is still what remains as Katunga's only community facility. The Katunga Rec Reserve and Community Centre has a strong sporting and community support and usage. The Numurkah Netball Club fielding all teams for netball and football. They have strong numbers in junior development in the NetSec Go and Auskick programs. The Katunga Tennis Club has strong numbers, always compete and field sides and quite often are lending players to other local communities to keep the competition running. And the Cricket Club have this year currently 2 under-12s teams and under-14s and field 2 senior teams playing weekly as well. As stated earlier, and stressing, this is not only our town's sporting hub, but our community's only community hall. It's our meeting and social space, acts as the function space, the sporting space and mass gathering space for the Katunga Primary School, and most importantly is our local safe evacuation emergency centre. So in saying that, now you can understand the importance of this facility in our community. You will now know the need for the redevelopment to continue moving forward. In 2018, with the undertaking of the master plan, then proceeding forward with concept building design, the project is now at the stage where it's seeking financial commitment and support from yourselves. We're looking forward to providing our community with the most up-to-date and unisex compliable facilities, positioning ourselves as a central sporting hub for the development of females in sport, offering our facilities for new teams and a more unisex training facility for local umpires and also other sporting groups. Repairs to the current facilities are slowly becoming a waste of Moira Shire resident funds. And the stalling of this project will not only see the undoing, but possibly the redoing of all the work already undertaken and financed by yourselves. We certainly understand the next step forward isn't easy, securing funds for a project on this scale, but none of this can proceed and continue without your support. As you will see from the user group concept designs or approved concept designs, the construction of this project will need to take place in 2 steps. The Change Room Sporting Hub will need to be constructed, followed by the demolition and construction of a new community facility. The in-kind and financial support can also begin, what have I got here? The in-kind and financial support can also begin with the confirmation from Moira Shire with your support. Our community is very financially and time generous, but are also still at a standstill in this project. Please remember that this facility has served as our community very well, mainly constructed by locals. The project is now just beyond the community's capabilities in upgrading. And when requesting commitment to this project ahead of other communities requesting the same new resources, please remember this is our residents' only community space. And the importance and the timing and importance needs to be considered in carrying on this project. But thanks for your time. And if there's anything I can answer for any of you, that I'm available.
Thanks, Liz. We're not going into questions, but you appreciate your submission, and your submission will be considered at future council discussions. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. If you want to do your presentation at Yarrawonga Community Action Group. Thank you, Jeff. Go for it.
Well, I can't hear a word. Right. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. I don't know what happened there. I still can't hear you, but I can certainly see you and you can hear me. So that's the main thing. This presentation is on behalf of the Yarrawonga Community Action Group budget submission for $1 million to purchase the former Yarrawonga Primary School site. Firstly, I would like to declare that no organisation I'm involved with are looking for accommodation within the school, nor did I attend the school. I'm here to speak for the silent majority who want the whole of the former Yarrawonga Primary School site for community use. I reiterate what has been said by the community. This site is essential to the sustainable future development of Yarrawonga and thereby Moira Shire. The 1.5 hectare site is gazetted public land and needed to stay as historic centre and green space. The Department of Education and Training expects Moira Shire Council to acquire the site this year. At least $1 million must be set aside in this year's budget. Certainly due diligence has been fulfilled with over 3 years of confidential negotiations. Yes, $670,000 may be a pittance to what you consider the ongoing renovation and maintenance costs will be. As shown before, the community of Yarrawonga is happy to fundraise for community assets, and there are state and federal grants that would suit a project like this. Wedderburn claim their community hub is self-funding. If development is properly structured over a period of time, it doesn't need to be a burden to the Shire. Once the current residential developments of Clonmore Park and Silverwood are completed, it is estimated the rate income will increase by at least 40 million. Not only that, with the increase in population, a community hub will certainly be required. There is no better place than the whole of the school site to develop this hub. This is one of the few decisions you will ever make with no opposition from the community. Councillors, are you ready to take Moira Shire to the next level? Just say, I will.
Thank you for your presentation, Jeff, and your submission will be considered at future council discussions. Thank you. Welcome, John. Can you hear us, John?
Hello.
Can you hear us, John?
John, how do you do?
Well, thank you. If you'd like to do your presentation on the Yarrawonga Mawala Artist Association. Thank you. Present your submission.
Thank you, Carmen. Look, thank you. Firstly, let me say thank you. What an honour it is to be able to speak to the councillors in our shire personally, and I really think that's a marvellous thing. We are a small artist group. We've been going now for since 1990, so well established. We consist of a club of about 30 members, mainly in the age, but we have got some members in their teens and in the early 20s. We presently occupy and are lent some wonderful premises run by the Men's Shed in the showgrounds area. It's a bit restrictive for us in that we're only limited to a Thursday morning to early afternoon, 1 day a week, obviously. There's no storage and that's it. So anyone who wants to join our group either has to be available on that particular day or they don't join our group, which again is very restrictive. So this opportunity, I thought I would really like to talk about a space for us. And the space I wanted to talk about, or our association wanted to talk about, was the old school site. Having read today that that's been pretty well canvassed by a statement released by the President, I realise that that's probably well in hand, and what I say today is not going to make a great, huge difference to those deliberations and those discussions and that ongoing process. However, I would say this, and while I've got my 5 minutes of fame, I'm going to use it. We've got a wish list. Now, the first thing I put on the wish list was a 1970 Ford Mustang Coupe. Oh, sorry, that's my wish list. I think everyone loves to not show, but be appreciated for what they do. And as artists, and we've got some brilliant artists, absolutely brilliant, award-winning artists in this area, in this shire, and we can't exhibit. We want to exhibit. We want to be more involved. We've run youth programs at schools. That's going to hiatus because of COVID. We've run visiting programs for the aged care. That also has gone into hiatus in the last couple of years for that simple reason. We need space. We've got people there in their 80s. They can't come to an organisation or come to a meeting dragging an easel and a milk crate full of paints with them. Impossible. So we need storage. We need to have workshops. And a workshop is not just 6 people sitting around a table. It is each person at a table. If you've got 20 people, you need 20 trestle tables. We need the room to run those workshops. We need storage. As I said, that we can't expect those people to bring them with us. And we need a bit of flexibility. You want to be involved in art? I'm sorry, we can't help you unless you're able to come to our meetings on a Thursday morning at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. They're very restrictive. Our saviour, we hope, will be the primary school and the surrounding buildings. We would see nothing better, nothing greater for the township of Yarrawonga than to say we are the same as Benalla, we're the same as Wangaratta, and we're the same as Shepparton. We have an art gallery. Wow, that'd be great. We really want to grow, and we think we will be an asset to the community, and we think that could be an asset. We obviously understand there are other places within the Shire that may suit us, but gee, we're flat out finding them in Yarrawonga. The Shire's got other assets, but in Yarrawonga, we looked and looked and looked and looked, and we found so far 2 places in the main street in Belmore Street that are well beyond the means of most businesses, let alone 30-member associations. So thank you for listening to me. In closing, I just want to say something, and I hope it's positive, and I'll find my last little card. With the land and with the associated buildings and the school, can we work out how it can be saved rather than trying to work out how to justify pulling it down? Thank you.
Thanks for your presentation, John. Your submission will be considered at future council discussion. And John, 1974 Ford GT, yes.
Thank you.
Watch the roll off the truck. Thank you. Great presentation. There you go.
Hello, everyone. So, hi, I'm Kerry Murray, and this is Linda Dixon, who's come along to present as well.
Thank you.
We're part of the Strathmerton Community Steering Committee, and this will be the 3rd presentation. The first one we were involved in was a Pick My Project application for funding for the walking track around the Strathmerton Reserve. Like many have already highlighted, the importance and value of safe walking tracks has been really highlighted, and it forms part of our community plan, which a lot of work went into. In the big scheme of things and what I've been hearing has previously been presented, it's fairly small in comparison, but it forms part of our ultimate aim for a rail trail that will go between Strathmerton and Cobram if we can ever get to. We've had a feasibility study, but we need some major funding, but that's not part of this. But it all forms part of what we want to see for Strathmerton. Pick My Project was supported by Moira Shire, so we know it's a good project. It's a walking track that will encircle the Rec Reserve. The Rec Reserve is a very well used facility, football, cricket, school, and it's been highly endorsed and encouraged by lots and lots of groups as an important next step of maintaining a fast growing community. Strathmerton, I hope you're all aware how rapidly growing for a small area Strathmerton is. And we have terrific businesses and great opportunities. It's been highlighted even more so by the recent death of a really valued community member, Mick Cleary, who he forms part of, and if you ever get a chance to look at the presentation that Linda actually put together as a PowerPoint presentation, at the end, you'll see a little video clip that Mick and his son put together. He was in the ute driving around where they would like to put this walking track that surrounds the golf course. And Danny was in the back, his son, with a GoPro, you know, videoing the whole little track. So, you know, the death, Mick's death, due to the fact that he was walking on the road, a very unsafe area. We have no safe areas to walk in, whether it's to walk, to cycle. I'm talking about young mums. We have a growing group of homes families coming into Strathmerton with children, mums in pushes that want a safe place. We just need somewhere safe to walk, ride, and it will also enhance the current facility, which is a very well-used facility. It's certainly not a big project. We are very keen to also provide some money for the enhancement of trees, a few $1,000s. The Strathmerton Community Steering Committee are very keen and prepared to do a lot of the manual labour to plant trees, along with schools, Girl Guides, many other groups that have also offered support. The community are very aware that we really need this. Walking tracks have been highlighted, and you'll see in the proposal that we put that we tick so many boxes in so many of the plans that form part of the Moira Shire plan. Trying to find the wellbeing for all ages, women's charter, domestic animal management, the council plan, the community plan for Moira for 2035, the disability access, the recreation strategy. This plan fits very well within all of those strategies. So we believe, the community believe, that it's a really vital need for our growing community. I think I've probably covered pretty much everything. What do you think, Linda?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, if you have a chance to watch the PowerPoint presentation afterwards, we did submit it with our application. So if you get a chance to watch that, and as Kerry said, in the last slide, there is the video of the footage of the track, walking around the track.
Thank you. We have a copy of it. We'll pass it on to our councillors. And Ken, I'd like to thank you for your submission. It will be considered at future council discussions. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh dear. I don't know. It's tricky. We try to cover
This thing here.
Councillors, please, you there, Tim?
The golf course.
It's Matt.
Dangerous.
Tim,
Long golf course.
Hello?
would you like to turn your camera on?
Yep, let me see how I do that. Oh. Yeah. I don't know. Thanks. No.
What type of device are you on, Tim?
Windows. I've got start video with big cross over it. I'll keep keeping that one. Let me
just tap on that. That'll.
Yeah, I've tried that. Nothing's happening.
There you go.
Yep, cool.
Welcome, Tim, the Yarrawonga Mawala Amateur Canoe Club. If you'd like to present your submission, thank you.
Yep, not a problem. I'm Tim Rodley anyway. I'm the secretary and the coach of the Yarrawonga Canoe Club. The canoe club currently has an outdated storage shed located at the boat ramp at the Yarrawonga Holiday Park. If I don't know whether you know that, which is located on the Murray River there. For the last 10 years, the club has been working on how we can upgrade the shed to a more suitable facility. Last year, we had a meeting with Sport and Recreation Victoria to see if we met the requirements for the state government female-friendly grant, which we certainly covered, ticked all the boxes required for that grant. So basically, if we had a 300K project, the Sport and Recreation would chip in 200K, and then it would be us and whoever facilities to find the extra. So it was a 2-for-1 ratio sort of application. But to apply for this grant, the Moira Shire had to do that on our behalf. Unfortunately, we've missed the last 2 rounds because we weren't in the budget, etc., like that. So then that's why we've put our proposal in that we can be put in the budget for the next round if and when it comes available. In the interim, because we desperate in need of facility, we have approached a local YMH to draw up plans. We've paid for the plans, etc., to include a 2-story facility with boat storage on the lower level and an all-inclusive female-friendly clubhouse, club rooms, club shed with showers and toilets on the top level, with and all abilities a ramp so it can be used by everyone. Why do we need a shed? That's probably the question everyone wants to know. Despite having hundreds of kids through our program, we don't have the appropriate club rooms. A shed is not fit for purpose. With the growth of the community in regional areas like this, it's outgrown our facility. Currently, the facility has roller doors, which are very hard to use, limited space, and of course, we have no change rooms or no toilet facility at all for our young paddlers, old paddlers, all sort of paddlers to use. The growth in the paddling is a passive Olympic sport, is well suited for this area. It's gaining popularity every week. Gold medalists such as Jessica Fox, who are on TV, front pages of the local. I've just come back from Sydney yesterday, and it's on the front page of the Sydney newspaper. She's on front page of magazines, etc., like that. So the rise in paddle boards, another thing. Last year, I don't know whether you've got young kids or adults, etc., like that. Stand-up paddle boards was the #1 new Christmas gift, and water activities are just going through the roof. You know, next step, once they've got the bite of having a go on a paddleboard, is to try kayaks and then move into competition, etc. We've found in the last several years that as the female population has increased in our paddling, I don't know what it is, but we are seen at our sport is just taken off by females. It's just amazing. I'd say 95% of our participants are females at the moment. Whereas girls have dropped off in other sports due to COVID, etc., like that. Our sport is we're just getting girls. Like, even I had 2 extra ones this week. That's what the growth is like. You know, they're just, some people are saying, oh, come and try this and come and try that. And we're really getting more and more females coming into our sport. The issue we have is we don't have the facilities at our shed to cater with females. They're going home wet and cold after our events because we can't block off a shed in part of the shed to cater for young girls to, you know, so their parents are taking their kids home rather than changing, etc., like that. The Murray River, which we all know is Australia's largest rivers, we also provide an important education of the dangers of rivers, etc., like that. And we just want to make sure, as well as supplying a sport, we're also supplying this water safety component of it. As the club, we cover all bases. We have disabled, disability access. Last week, our club was just selected to run a pilot all ability program for Paddle Victoria. So in May, the Paddle Victoria are setting up a program, a symposium, etc., like that, using our facilities as what is needed and what is not needed in the offering a paddleability program, which is, I don't know whether everyone has followed this sailability program, which is Sailing has all around Victoria. So we've been one club selected to run that program. Again, they're going to come up here and utilise the Murray. We're not necessarily going to put them on the water. We just don't have the facilities at the moment to do that. But we're just going to explain to them what's required in the future for what you could do. So basically, on the Saturday, they're going to run a program of Paddle Victoria and all the activities coming up here with our club and running it. And then on Sunday, we're going to have an information session. As I've explained, women and girls.
Shortly, Tim, if you can, please.
Yep. As I said, just all those activities that we offer, that we're covered. But for us to move forward and offer these services, we require some facility that can, you know, look after what we've got coming ahead. Yeah. If there's any questions, I can quickly run through it.
There are no questions today, Tim. So thank you very much. Submission will be considered at future council discussion. Tim, you have a great day.
Okay, no worries. Thank you. Thank you very much for letting me have a talk. Cheers.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, there we go into our standing orders. Resume. Can I have a councillor move that motion, please? Yeah. Councillor Cox again, and seconder. Councillor Limbrick. Recommendation the committee note the submissions are received. I need another mover, please. Yeah. Again, Councillor Brooks, a seconder. Councillor Lawless, thank you. I would like to thank all the submitters and also to those that spoke to their submissions. Thank you. This concludes today's meeting. Thank you, and the meeting is closed.